Men's 4x400 T53, T54. Those athletes will all be in wheelchairs for this. They are the powerhouses of the track. The big men, as we have a look at the United States, China, Korea and Canada, they are your 4 finalists. Jordan Bird will start off for the United States. Brian Seaman will take the second 400. And then it will be Chalmers and Pike, the very impressive Chinese team of Sui, Lu, Li and Lu. The Koreans, the big dark horse, Hong, Yu, Jung and Lee. The Canadians have had somewhat of a disappointing track and field meet at these World Championships. Certainly have the names here on paper to do something special with Matheson, Gautier, Compore and DuPont. They will start in lane 7.
And the world record and championship record there held by the Chinese team. The change over of athletes in these 4x4s is technically very difficult. We've seen a lot of disqualifications throughout these championships in this category of relay.
So it's not a baton change, it's more of a touch for these competitors. They've got to stay in their lanes for this first 400 metres.
And they must touch in between the blue zones on the track.
Somewhat surprised that a number of the athletes with their chairs have decided to go with the disc wheels, considering the wind conditions. Again, those disc wheels don't really tend to have a huge advantage unless you get them up over 35, 36k an hour, and often just having the bladed carbon spokes is a better option.
The Chinese team set their championship record earlier on in these championships, so they're very much the informed team going into this final.
Jordan Bird of the United States, nice and relaxed.
Roll back, gentlemen.
He's been asked to come back. And one thing, Rebecca Wardell, with relays is it's amazing when other people are relying on you, just how much you empower yourself, how much you push yourself, often harder than you can when you're just competing individually.
Yeah, definitely. I think people often set personal bests for splits and relays when you've got the teammates egging you on.
And we are underway in the men's 4x400 relay. And these athletes do need to stay inside of those lanes. The American athlete here, Jordan Bird, really getting those arms turning over, getting them pumping, getting nice high elbows, and no real advantage to any one particular country as they go through that first 100 metres.
Yeah, often difficult to tell with the stagger in the first lap of a 4x4 who actually has the advantage. It will become more evident as they change over.
Canadian Matheson's gone out very quickly in the far outside lane, but now we're going to see the advantage of the bend for the athletes behind. But Canada, a nice first 400 metres. Does he have the arms to maintain this and keep his composure? He does. Look, has a wee look up. Changeover's important. How much of an advantage do Canada have? And that is a nice change from the Chinese on the inside, and they've automatically taken back that advantage that Canada did have, and the Chinese are gone out of the blocks. The second for the Chinese is Liu. The athlete from the United States is Seaman. He is still on the inside, and he is starting to get a little bit of momentum as the athletes can now cross back here into the pole line, the 400 metres. And this is where things can change, because you've got the dynamics of sitting in behind other athletes in their chairs, and there is a significant drag coefficient if you're smart.
The Chinese really running away with this. We saw this with the women's 4x4, technically very good in the changeover. That's where the momentum carries through, and these athletes are able to maintain their speed.
Yeah, Korea currently in second place. Let's have a look at the change. How relaxed are the Chinese? It is just effortless, almost machine-like. The Koreans tap nicely too. Not such a good change from the Americans. Don't seem to have the same momentum as Korea or China. And so some work to do for the Canadians and the athletes from the United States. But China doing what their women's team did earlier in the week, and they have a commanding lead halfway through this 4x400 metre relay.
A real battle going on at the medal table between the Chinese and the Russian teams. Another gold medal here by the Chinese. Could see them just sneak on top of the medal table for these championships.
Kampore of Canada, the third athlete, game making and pulling some back sometime, but really China, this is their race to lose. They've got just the one change to do. Can the Koreans do something special? So this is Liu for China, the last competitor, the anchor leg. For Korea, it will be Kay Lee. The Canadians will finish with DuPont, and the Americans will finish with Pike. But China have just under 300 metres left to travel in this journey, and they should comfortably win this relay, unless the technical officials have seen something throughout this race. It is simply the best way of describing it, as a demolition.
Very much a demolition. The time's probably a little slower than the championship record that they set in the heats due to the conditions, but this is definitely a very dominant performance here by the Chinese team.
China will come down to win this 4x400 metre World Championship relay. Gold medal to China. The Koreans cross the line in second, and then it is the Canadians, Kampore, who will finish in the bronze medal position. A disappointing day for the United States, finishing in fourth, but the power of the Chinese very present here at QE2 Stadium.